in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Bahamians marking a significant holiday across the country. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson. It was 49 years ago that the opposition Progressive Liberal Party, led by its leader, the late Sir Lyndon Pinlan, won the government following a tie of 18 seats with the then governing United Bahamian Party. The tie was broken in support of the PLP, giving the Bahamas its first majority-rule government. The PLP would then lead the Bahamas into independence in 1973. Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie among those reflecting on this defining moment in Bahamian history.
This is a very, very important day in the history of our Commonwealth. And it is for me to say that when the results were counted, the PLP had the same amount of seats as the UBP. It took two individuals running as independents, one Randall Fox, the other A.R. Brennan, to join with the then Progressive Liberal Party to form a new government and usher in, for the first time in the history of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, majority rule.
The Prime Minister was speaking at a special event last night to salute and remember an outstanding Bahamian in the sporting and social arena. Hundreds gathered at Montague Bay for the unveiling of a statue of the late King Eric Gibson, who helped to give sailing prominence as an event throughout the year and throughout the islands, and impacted the tourism and entertainment industry. The Prime Minister saluted the spirit of King Eric Gibson as one of those enterprising Black Bahamians who came from humble beginnings and used his gift of music to make a living.
He became a businessman. That's another very important point. He was a businessman who was following in the footsteps of those like Freddie Munnings and Edgar Bain, who before him had started the Cat and Fiddle and the Silver Slipper. He brought about the King of Knights, where he demonstrated you could not only have a band, but you could begin a business around that band and entertain. Arising out of that, he will always be known for the role that he played in fostering the reputation of our island and country as a tourism destination. So I salute him for that as well.
While others also noting the high point of majority rule in the annals of Bahamian history. To commemorate the country's 49th anniversary of majority rule, members of the Bain and Grantstown Advancement Association held a worship service yesterday afternoon at St. Pleasant Green Baptist Church. The association says the event is just one way to educate future generations about the significance of this historical day in Bahamian politics. However, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, says there is much work to be done.
That we have a job to do to continue to tell the story of what it was to be in a country where if your skin color was wrong, you could not get the rights that you had and deserved in your own country. People don't believe that that actually happened in the Bahamas, but it did. And that change in 1967 was a great psychological change. Now, those who are criticizing the present order and say we haven't achieved it yet, I want to say to you that life is a continuous and constant battle. When I was in Abaco a couple days ago, I told the children there what their generation has to do is to identify the things that they want for their country. We saw and identified what we wanted and what we fought for. What we did was we tried to set an example that if you believe in something, you fight for it, whatever it is. That's the great gift of the 10th of January 1967.
Well, that service was held at the Mount Pleasant Green Baptist Church, not St. Pleasant Green Baptist Church. And former Governor General Sir Arthur Folkes also brought remarks. He said majority rule is an important movement that defines Bahamian.
It is not too late for us to remove the lantern of history from the stern of our national ship and place it at the bow so that it can illuminate our course into the future, and so that it will constantly shine on those high ideals which gave birth to this day. We owe as much to those who make great sacrifices and then fall asleep like the soldier in Flanders. But more importantly, we owe it to future generations of Bahamians who will, in their time, look back and see what kind of history, what kind of example, what kind of ideals we have left for them.
Also on this majority rule holiday, the Bahamas can now boast of a uniquely different ecotourism experience. It's called the Holy Land Biblical Sites Replica Park and is located on South Andros. Carla Palmer reports on the newest Bahamian adventure that was officially opened today.
Spread across 20 acres of land in Deep Creek, South Andros, is an eco-adventure religious theme park which promises visitors a Holy Land experience. Owner and operator Pastor Jeremiah Duncombe is describing his newest attraction as second to the original site in Jerusalem, but authentically better than all others.
What is emerging here is significantly more authentic as Holy Land sites than you will find in Orlando. They are Hollywood reproductions. They are magnifying the genius and the ability of man to create and to perform and illustrate. But what one will see at the Bahamas Holy Land experience is something that is glorifying and lifting up only one person, and that is God.
The theme park features miles of walking trails, a variety of foliage, and bird sanctuaries, in addition to the reported 49 thrilling Holy Land biblical replicas, like a drive across the Deep Creek Bridge as the Jordan River, or swim in the surrounding water, simulated for the Sea of Galilee.
Because it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do an entire tour.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis officially opened the religious theme park. He is hoping that this mix of culture and history, giving life to the principal events in the origin and growth of Judaism and Christianity, put a dent in the crime problem in the country.
Lately, though, we have seen an unprecedented surge in crime, a crime wave that bespeaks the loss of love for friend and brother, mother and father. I am convinced that this gift of the Holy Land can help our nation. I implore you to join with others to leave no stone unturned in the search for sustainable solutions to the Bahamas' challenges, so that all of us may live in peace.
South Andros Member of Parliament, His Excellency Picewell Forbes, also commended the effort by Pastor Duncombe to expand our tourism product, as he disclosed other developments on stream for that island.
We anticipate very shortly the dredging at the Mars Bay Harbor. And the Deputy Prime Minister has promised and is delivering on that promise today. And also with our gymnasium in the bluff, the drawing should have been completed on Friday past for the construction process. And also I had a chance to, and this morning Sergeant Miller reminded us about the band for the school. Well, Sergeant Miller, I told you today, I saw what happened in Mangrove Key just the other day with their marching band, and we must have one here too. And my influence is real.
Today marked the first of the three-phased development. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
Thanks so much, Carla. Back here in the capital, in dramatic fashion, the youth of the nation showed that they are also concerned about the tidal wave of crime hitting the country as they lay on the ground in Rawson Square to signify death and remember the 149 people who lost their lives to acts of violence in 2015. The silent protests by teenage members of Youth Against Crime, a reform project, marked the launch of the organization started in December after the stabbing death of 16-year-old Doris Johnson student Adonai Wilson. Tracy Sands, the 16-year-old president, says the group aims to show that all is not lost for young people, and this group wants to be part of finding the solution to the social ills facing the Bahamas instead of contributing to them.
We plan to use our voices, insight, and unique perspective as the future of the nation to begin to reform our generation through social media, peaceful protest, thoughtful suggestion, and interactive ventures that engage and target people in our age bracket. We intend to encourage and promote emotional intelligence, critical thinking, conflict resolution, and discourage the notion that we have become a lost generation with no value for human life. We also intend to be the form of change in youth in the Bahamas that stands firmly to our beliefs and morals. We say no to crime because enough is enough.
Sands says she firmly believes that young people need to deal with conflict resolution better and learn to benefits of resolving disputes without resorting to violence. As the organization pushes to make its presence known, she says there will be flash mobs in the mall at Marathon depicting violent scenes to raise awareness about domestic violence and other issues. While she says Youth Against Violence will do its part, Sands presented several proposals the organization wants to see government implement.
A national curfew of all individuals 18 and younger, an end to social promotion in all government schools, the creation of proper management of truancy program for schools of all ages, random drug and alcohol testing for all high school students, metal detectors in schools, increased security cameras on campuses, a special gang task force to monitor gang activity in schools, specified training for school security guard, mandatory periodic drug searches and raids within all high schools. This is a non-profit activist movement that solely exists to reduce the amount of crime in our nation and to save a generation that is slowly being lost to ignorance.
Meantime, police have arrested an adult male and seized an AK-47 assault rifle following a shooting incident in Montel Heights today. Police say they received a report of gunshots being fired in the Montel Heights area shortly after 1 p.m. by a group of men that resulted in a woman and a young boy receiving non-life-threatening injuries. The suspects fled before the police arrived. Responding officers from the Selective Enforcement Team and Mobile Division later intercepted the suspect running across the east-west highway with an AK-47 assault rifle. The officers engaged the suspect and he dropped the weapon. The suspect was arrested and the weapon recovered. The victims were transported to hospital where they are detained in stable condition. Police have launched an island-wide manhunt for the remaining suspects. Also in news today, employees at Club Landor may soon get some much-needed relief from their ongoing issues as the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union has stepped in to push for resolution in the matter. The union has filed a trade dispute at Club Landor on Paradise Island. This after employees there were reportedly not paid for more than 20 weeks. The employer also reportedly failed to pay Christmas bonuses and monies from the Maids Escrow Fund. General Secretary of the union, Darren Woods, provides an update on this latest move.
Employees have not been paid for in excess of 10 weeks. We were still trying to ascertain correctly the amount of weeks that the employees were not paid for. Well, this was in an effort to get the matter, restarted because the matter was heard at labor. We had a company, the employees, and a representative from the Department of Labor had a meeting outside of the union, and when we got wind of it, we tried to, of course, intervene to ensure that the rights of the employees were sufficiently looked after. And so I filed a dispute last week. I also had a conversation with the Director of Labor who indicated that he personally wants to deal with this matter to see how best we could bring it to a quick resolution.
Woods is also encouraging Club Landor employees to continue reporting to work. Meantime, long-serving employee and breakfast cook Ida Mae Broadmel says they have heeded Woods' advice.
employees have an obligation to report to work. Anything after that, because if they fail to report to work, it could be considered as job abandonment, and that'll make the process of dealing with this matter that much difficult, because you find that the employer could use this as a strategy against them. We know that it is difficult, and we are seeking ways to other ways for redress for the employees over at the club Landor Hotel to ensure that whatever assistance and stuff that they need, that we try to see how best we could assist those employees over there.
All of our staff that are scheduled to work are coming to work on time and working with whatever they have to work with, which is little, which is very little.